There's a psalm that has been hidden in plain sight for nearly 3,000 years. A psalm so powerful that when it is read for just 3 days, not 3 months, not 3 weeks, just 3 days, something begins to break in the spiritual realm. The chains of debt loosen, the burden begins to lift, and blessing returns. I am Rabbi Shyon. I am 83 years old. And today, I want to show you which psalm it is, why the number 3 days matters, and exactly how you must read it so that it works. But before I reveal this, I need to warn you. This only works if you follow the instructions precisely. If you miss even one element, you may read the words without experiencing their power. Before we begin, take a moment to engage with this message. If you're ready to break free from financial bondage, like this video and write these 3 words in the comments. I am free. When you write those words, you are making a declaration not only here, but in the spiritual realm. And if you want to continue learning truths like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let me tell you something that most people misunderstand about debt. Debt is not just a financial problem. Debt is spiritual bondage. The book of Proverbs says it clearly. The borrower is slave to the lender. Not servant, not employee, slave. Debt creates a master-slave relationship. The creditor gains authority over your life. They can call you, demand payment, threaten consequences, influence your decisions. Debt affects your peace. It follows you when you wake up. It sits beside you when you sleep. It influences your choices, your relationships, and even your faith. And perhaps worst of all, debt creates shame. It makes people feel like failures, like they are irresponsible, like they are somehow less than others. But hear this carefully. Financial freedom is not only about money. It is about liberation. Freedom to live without chains. Freedom to pursue purpose without pressure from creditors. And there is a psalm in the Bible that speaks directly to this kind of freedom. That psalm is Psalm 37. Most people are familiar with Psalm 23 about the shepherd. Many know Psalm 91 about protection. But Psalm 37 is rarely taught as a psalm of financial breakthrough. Yet it contains some of the most powerful promises in all of Scripture regarding provision, restoration, and freedom from debt. This psalm was written by King David in his later years. By that time in his life, David had seen everything. He had been poor, he had been rich, he had been hunted, and he had been king. After decades of experience, he wrote down what he had observed about God's faithfulness, and one of the key verses says this: "The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous show mercy and give." Notice something important here. The righteous are not described as borrowers forever. They are described as givers. This means that if you are currently in debt, that is not your permanent identity. It is only a temporary season. Another powerful verse says, "I have been young and now am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor their children begging bread." Think about that. David lived an entire lifetime observing the world, and he said he never once saw God abandon the righteous. That means your situation today is not your final chapter. Provision is still possible, breakthrough is still possible, and restoration is still possible. Later in the same psalm we read, "Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land."
In biblical language, inheriting the land means receiving provision and blessing. It means moving from struggle into abundance. But why should this psalm be read for 3 days? Because throughout the Bible, 3 days represent the period between crisis and transformation.
Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of the fish before being delivered. Jesus spent 3 days in the tomb before the resurrection. Esther fasted for 3 days before approaching the king and saving her people. Again and again, Scripture shows that 3 days mark the turning point between bondage and breakthrough. When you read Psalm 37 for 3 consecutive days, you align yourself with this biblical pattern. Day 1 begins breaking the spiritual authority that debt has held over your life. Day 2 begins shifting your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of debt and start seeing yourself as someone moving toward blessing. Day 3 completes the spiritual cycle. The declaration becomes sealed. Now, let me explain how you must read the psalm. First, timing matters. Read the psalm at the same time each day for 3 consecutive days. Morning is ideal because it sets the direction for your entire day. Second, read it out loud, not silently. Words spoken aloud carry power. They move from thought into the physical realm. Third, read slowly and intentionally. Do not rush. Let each verse sink into your heart. Fourth, read with faith, not desperation. You are not begging God. You are aligning yourself with promises that already exist. During these 3 days, there are also 3 actions you must take. The first action is, give something away each day, even if it is small. Giving breaks the mentality of scarcity. The second action is, declare the end of your debt out loud. After reading the psalm, speak these words: My debt is ending. Provision is flowing toward me. Opportunities are opening. I am moving from borrower to blessed. The third action is, write down every debt you have, every amount, every creditor. Bring them specifically before God in prayer. Then, after completing the 3 days, take practical action. Contact creditors. Create a repayment plan. Cut unnecessary expenses. Seek opportunities for additional income. Because faith without action does not produce results. Spiritual breakthrough must be followed by practical steps. And finally, begin practicing gratitude daily. Gratitude positions the heart to receive provision. When you thank God for what is coming, you prepare yourself to recognize it when it arrives. And that is the hidden power behind Psalm 37. A simple practice, 3 days, faithful action, and a shift that can change your financial future.